Hello, welcome to Just Prime. As part of this video, we are going to understand how to change Spring Boot default server as Tomcat to different server which is supported by Spring Boot like ZT and Undertow, and another one is Netty for Webflex. So basically we are trying to change the default server which is provided with Spring Boot Tomcat to other servers like ZT and Undertow. So these are the two servers which is supported by for web applications or servlet applications, including Tomcat, totally 3 servers, and whereas Reactor Netty will be useful for Webflex related applications. So right now we are going to see the 3 servers which is supported by Spring Boot web applications or web applications related to solids. So to understand this application, we are going to create a simple REST service, and we are going to remove the default server which is provided by Tomcat, and then we will include ZT and Undertow. We'll be testing these two. So for this, let me create a simple Spring Boot application from the Spring Initializer. So I'm going to use here Maven version and Java, and you can use any version, but I'm trying to use 2.7.12, and I'm going to use here server. Let me give the Spring Boot server change demo. So this is the project name I'm trying to give, Spring Boot server change demo, and let me keep the package name same as small one, and you can use jar or you can use 20 or 17 whatever. So Java version, so I'm using Maven here 2.7.2, and the package name, group name, all those things, and jar and JDK 20 I'm using it. So we are going to test this one by writing a simple REST service. So for that I need to add a dependency is web. That's it. So as part of the web, you can able to create the RESTful services, and you will be getting the default server as Apache Tomcat. So this Apache Tomcat we are going to change to Jetty and Undertow, and we are going to run our REST service, so that we are going to test it. So generate. Once generate is done, then you can go to download folder and take it, and you can go to your location, Spring Boot, you can paste it where, unzip this one. Yes, so now you got the Maven project, so you can take this Maven project into your Eclipse. You can import this one, paste it, import it, so you will be getting the default Spring Boot application which you can see over here. So right now it will provide only a Spring Boot class, that is the only Spring Boot main application class. So for this to run our application, I'm going to create a simple controller. So I'm going to write my controller. So this is a simple controller. I want to make this as a REST controller. Then I want to write a simple API, public string get name. So basically this is one of the simple API which will return the some string. So I want to make this API should be exposable and put the name as get name. So our REST service is ready. This is the API which we are going to call, and which will give the simple string return to us. So here if you come back over here, so we can see here we have a Spring Boot starter web. So as part of this you will be getting the default server as a Tomcat, so you can test that one. So for that, let me build this one, create a jar file, Maven install. So the Spring Boot jar is ready. Spring Boot jar is ready. It created jar successfully. Build is success. Now I'm going to run this application as a Spring Boot as a Java application. So then our default server as a Tomcat will be running with a default port. So you can see here Tomcat started on port 8080. So this is basically you will be getting the default server from the Spring Boot as part of the starter web. So right now I don't want to use the default server. I want to use the different server which is provided by Spring Boot. So first step, I have to exclude the default server. So how to exclude it? You can add exclusions. Under exclusions you can add exclusion, which one you want to remove it. So I want to remove, you just copy this group ID, artifact ID you can include over here. So you can remove this one as a Tomcat. So basically I want to remove the, just format it. So I want to remove the default server Tomcat. So instead of that server I want to add my own server. So you can add the your own server dependency as ZT or Undertow. First let me test with ZT. So basically what I did here, I have excluded the Tomcat server and I have added the ZT as dependency. So now let me stop this one and let me rebuild my application. So build is happening. Once build is done, so it is trying to download the ZT related server. So build is still happening. Yes, build is success. So we can see here the jar is created. So now what I have to do to test this ZT server, I had to start my Spring Boot application. So run as jar or Java. So let me open this console. Still it is pointing to 8080. Okay, let me close it. Let me check. So exclusions, Spring Boot starter. So exclusions, Spring Boot starter, Tomcat. So here is a mistake. Tomcat. So basically here I had given the typo Tomcat. So that's the reason it's Tomcat is not removed from the default list. Now let me rebuild it. So now Tomcat will be removed and we are adding instead of that ZT as a server. So build is happening still. Yes, build is done. So now let me start our application as a Java. Yes, now build is completed and we can able to start our Spring Boot application. You can see over here ZT started on port 8080. So whether we will be testing now whether this application is running on ZT or not. I just open the browser, localhost, API name I had given as get name. So you will be getting the Just Prime. So this is the way you can able to change the default server Tomcat to ZT. Now let me change or let me test with another supported server as Undertow. So first what I had to do, Tomcat anyway we are removing, instead of ZT I want to use Undertow. So I want to use Undertow. So you can remove this one. So this is the Undertow, another server which is supported by Spring Boot, Tomcat, ZT or Undertow. So for this one what I had to do, I had to rebuild our application again back. It's still building, still creating the jar. Yes, Java creation is done. Now let me start our Spring Boot application as a Java application, and then we can verify it in console. Yes, you can see here now. So under2 started on port 8080. So basically under2 is working, ZT is working, and Tomcat also working. So these are the three possible servers which will supported by Spring Boot application for web applications, which is used by mainly servlets. So let me test this one. Another request. Yes, you will be getting the response, and you can see, so first request came, so dispatcher servlet got initialized. So this is the way you can able to change the default servlet with default server which is provided by Spring Boot application as part of starter web as a Tomcat, so that you can able to replace with under2 or Jetty. So this is the one of the useful way you can able to change your server to as per your requirement. And yeah, I think that's all about this video. If you like the video, you can subscribe to the channel for more subsequent videos, and thank you so much for your time.